Back today on day 4. I've lost 11.1 pounds, and I've got 2 cool things to share with you today. So we're going to go a little deeper into Qigong, because that's why we're here, to learn how to boost our energy, have more energy for life. And I've got 2 new symptoms of fasting to share with you that both have the same solution. So let's get into the Qigong first this time to change it up a little bit. Whenever we're sharing techniques in Qigong, it's also important to share why should you be doing this, or why is it worth the time and effort to do this. And it's a fascinating miracle that sounds completely unbelievable if you haven't experienced it before. But it's amazing that in our bodies, 2 inches below our belly button, 2 inches inside the body, it's the Dantian, and it's our energy body's center. It's the center of our energy body. So that's where the Qi is stored in our body. We can store energy there, and then it gets distributed throughout our body based on our needs. If we have good Qi flow, we're going to have good energy and good life experience. And just with the power of our mind, we can take the free energy that's available. It's out there. And we can charge it into our bodies. Now, how can we know this? With a little bit of practice, you can start to feel it. You can start to experience it. So just like electricity, you plug a lamp in, you turn the light switch on, the light comes on. You may not know exactly how that works, but if you follow the process of plug it in, turn it on, you have light. You get in a car, you drive it somewhere. You may not know the inner workings of how the engine works, but if you get in the car and you drive it somewhere, you know it'll take you there. Well, similarly, there's this, science has proven it, and in ancient China, for thousands of years, they've known about this. So this is a real thing where we can absorb external energy, bring it into our body, and use that for life. It's completely mind-boggling, completely amazing. I was very skeptical about this when I first heard about it, but I actually tried it, and I could feel the difference. So it's important to try this, and for everyone it's going to be different. Some people, maybe you could try this and immediately feel, yes, there's something to it. Other people may take a little bit of practice, but over time, anybody who spends some time doing this, I'm going to give you a challenge today to start experiencing it more quickly, see how quickly you can experience this. So let's follow the process. So going back to day 1, I gave the simple technique. The very first technique that I shared was to put your palms on right below your navel, right below your belly button, 2 inches below, lining up the centers of the palms. So if you take the center of each palm, line them up, and then put your palms on your stomach. Male, you put your left hand first, female, right hand first, and then the other one on top. Line the palms up, and then line them up with the point inside your body, about 1.5 inches to 2 inches below your belly button, and 2 inches inside. If you're in that general area, don't worry about being super precise. Over time, you'll feel where that point is. I'm just giving you the approximate locator to start. So that was the first method. And if you concentrate on those 3 points lining up, and you can even concentrate a little more on the point inside your body, the Dantian, then that process alone, just concentrating on it, will allow energy to start flowing into that area. That's a good practice. There's more powerful ways to do that, but that's the basic way to get started. So today, let's take it one step further. So if we take our hands, we put our knuckles together, point our fingers down, and then stick the middle fingers out. So this isn't meant to be anything vulgar. It's just stick your middle fingers like so, and then point them at the Dantian instead of your palms. And then push in just slightly, like you want to feel enough to feel some pressure. Okay? And then once you've made that, you're putting some pressure, not hard enough to hurt, just enough so you can feel it pressing in. Okay? The back of your middle fingers touching. The rest of your fingers can be kind of comfortably bent, thumbs sticking out. They could be bent kind of like this, or just bent up, not straight like the middle fingers, comfortable. You're not trying to squeeze them into fists. and you're not trying to open or extend them, just comfortably bent. Put it right on the Dantian. And then what you want to do is imagine a beam of light coming from your fingers pointing to the Dantian. So just in the beginning, until you feel this, this is activated by imagination. So you're going to imagine. There's two things you can imagine. You can visualize the beam of light going from the middle fingers. You can imagine it starting at your knuckles and going down through your fingertips to the Dantian, or you can have it starting at your fingertips going to the Dantian. Imagine the beam of light. Now, some people have a hard time visualizing, actually seeing it in their mind. So if you can't visualize it, then you just try to get a sense of feeling a pressure or feeling a warmth coming from your fingers to your Dantian. And applying that pressure with your fingertips will actually help you to imagine that a little better. So that's the reason for the pressure. And you just start to imagine, and if you can do both simultaneously, well then that's good too. You don't have to necessarily see it to imagine it happening. So to the best of your ability, try to see the light going to the Dantian, or try to imagine the feeling of an energy, the feeling of light, the warmth caused by light, going to that point about 2 inches inside your body. And then, to the best of your ability, you have this flow coming from your fingertips to the Dantian, and then try to imagine the energy pooling at the Dantian. So pooling, not pulling, pooling, like gathering there. So visually, you have a light beam pointing into this spot where it's a point of light inside the Dantian, and then that point of light just grows brighter and brighter and gets bigger and bigger. So it goes from a tiny point to a small, like sun within your body, if you can visualize that. If you can't visualize it, you just feel the feeling in that point getting warmer, getting more intense. So the idea is that the flow of energy coming from your fingers is building, it's gathering, it's uniting in that point, and that sense is growing stronger. So if you practice this for some time, and again, the time limit's different for everyone, but if anyone were to practice this for a while, we just say a while, leave it open. It won't take as long as you might think. So practice that until you can feel it. And whether you feel it or not, just the act of imagining it happening is actually gathering chi to your Dantian. You're actually charging your body's energy battery just by doing this, whether you feel it or not. And over time, you'll feel it more as you develop this new ability. It's all about just paying attention. Once your mind links with that part of your body sufficiently, you're going to feel it. So one challenge is you can do this while standing. You could do it from the seated position. You could even do it lying in bed. And it's also a good idea to keep your arms, your elbows a little bit forward. So their elbows aren't touching your body. They're just out away from your body comfortably. You don't have to flex them to where it's uncomfortable, but just away from the body, pointing out as far as you comfortably can. Because that's actually just directing the muscles to point more towards the Dantian. It's increasing the chi flow there. And you could do this whenever you have some free time. You could do it while waiting in line, although you might not want it to look weird to people. But if you're waiting at home and you have a few minutes, try this throughout the day. Try it for a few minutes, a few different times a day. You can make it a regular practice. But one challenge that I have for you is to do this at least once in the next day or soon, whenever you have the time, whenever you can, for 15 minutes. Just concentrate on the energy flowing from your fingertips into your Dantian. And if you do that for 15 minutes, that's going to be the equivalent of like a meal or two worth of energy. So you're going to gather a tremendous amount of energy. So two things I want you to pay attention to is to do this. And now this isn't the time to plan a shopping list or to figure out what you're doing for the rest of the day. To the best of your ability, just pay attention to your fingers pointing energy at the Dantian. If you have a distracting thought, it's not a problem. Just as soon as you're aware of the fact that you've drifted away from this exercise, just bring your mind back to, okay, energy pointing at the Dantian, energy pointing at the Dantian. Oh, wait, I'm having a distracting thought. I'm thinking about what's for dinner. Okay, well, we'll have dinner later. Back to the Dantian, energy flow into the Dantian. Just keep doing that to the best of your ability. You don't have to be perfect at this. Over time, your concentration will develop. But for 15 minutes, try doing this. And I'd like, as an experiment, just do that without any expectations, and then leave a comment below the video, or if you're reading this on the blog. I'd love to hear how much energy flow, how much chi you experience, especially if you've never done this before. What's your experience in 15 minutes? Did nothing happen? Were you able to pay attention most of the time? Did you feel some chi actually starting to flow? I'm really curious to see what happens for you. And if you have that curiosity to just try it and see what happens, that's a good mode to operate from, because if you have unrealistic expectations that aren't met, then you may be disappointed and not try. So it's good to just see what happens, right? I'm saying some things that are kind of hard to believe, but if you just say, well, let's see what's possible, that's a great place to start from. I've put the whole story about every day, day by day. It's on the blog. So all the details, my daily schedule, my daily routine, what I'm doing Qigong-wise, that is all on the blog. And for this video, I've typed out a nice article that actually details, the video is more free-form where I talk about these topics. You can check out on the blog the full explanation of what's going on here. But 2 new sensations emerged today as I was fasting that I noticed, and I actually haven't thought about these for a little while. The beauty of doing the 21-day fast, why I'm doing this, is so that as I notice these things, it's hard to remember what happens during the 21-day fast after you've done it. While it's happening, it gives me the opportunity to observe these things and to share with you what I've learned on how to deal with that. So today is actually the first time where I've experienced 2 things that, let's just call them challenges. So prior to today, it was just all rosy, all fun, all good feeling. But today is the first 2 things that are actually kind of unpleasant. Now, they have the same solution, and it's not a reason to give up fasting or quit unless you didn't understand why this was happening. Then you might be tempted to do that. Understanding why what's happening is happening and then knowing how to deal with it is going to help you solve any problem or come up with any challenge that you need to overcome. So the first sensation that I actually noticed, you've probably experienced this at some point in your life, is if I stand up too fast, then I get a little dizzy. Not really dizzy, lightheaded. So if I'm sitting down or laying down and then the phone rings, so I jump up to go grab it. I make a sudden movement of like jumping up and then moving forward, all in the same lunge. Then we get this little lightheaded feeling. And the way to deal with that, if you're having that lightheaded feeling, is to just stop and pause for a moment. If you're against the wall, lean on the wall, sit back down, and just give it a second or 2. It passes very quickly. The way to avoid that is to just get up slowly. And so if you're sitting down or lying down and you're conscious of this, just stand up slowly. And before you take a step or 2 forward, give yourself 1 second. You don't have to wait for long, but pause for a moment. And then begin walking forward slowly, and then you can accelerate your pace then. It's just a very sudden motion of going from not moving to moving quickly that when your blood pressure is lower, then you get this lightheaded feeling. Now, why is the blood pressure lower? Well, this is the 4th day now. I'm actually almost at 100 hours without food. Now, I haven't been eating any food. I've been drinking only water. So I also haven't eaten any salt, because salt is usually in the food we eat. Well, I haven't eaten any food, and I've only drank water, so I'm not getting any salt. Now, salt is an important mineral that your body uses to process electrical activity. So the cells use it. It has to do with our electrical conductivity. So salt is an important thing in our diets. And the other symptom that I'm experiencing that goes hand in hand with the little bit of lightheadedness and the low blood pressure is just a mild form of nausea. It's just a little bit of an uncomfortable, nauseous feeling. Not the full-blown desire to vomit, but just a little bit of queasiness. So the solution for both of these, very simple, is have some salt. You got to find a way to get some salt. Now, I've researched many ways to do this. Now, the challenge is, how do you get salt without food? If you're trying to fast, and particularly water fasting, what happens is the more water you drink, you're diluting the amount of salt in your body. And then when the salt gets low enough, your blood pressure drops. Now, the good thing about lower blood pressure is you're going to feel more relaxed. It's actually a pleasant feeling, having the lower blood pressure. It's just a more relaxed, more easygoing feeling. That's a good feeling. Along with it, though, since that feels good, there's really no natural warning for your body. Along with it is this little bit of nausea. It's just your body kind of giving you a signal that, okay, things are a little bit disturbed by the lack of salt. So it is something that you can suppress. You can keep just drinking water and kind of deal with that nauseous feeling. I've done that just to be a purist. I'm only drinking water. But since I've done that to prove it to myself in the past, I've gone to 21 days drinking only water and having that nauseous feeling that just kind of doesn't go away and accepting that. And that's okay. I've also realized I'm doing this to feel good. I want a positive experience. So I'm still sticking to no calories, but here's how I'm getting the salt. Salt is the one exception to just water. So the first way to get salt, and I'm going by easily available ways to you. Well, the first way that I think would be acceptable for most people, and if I wasn't doing this demonstration as a 21-day living off Qi with no calories, is vegetable bouillon, beef bouillon, chicken bouillon. Basically, broth. Broth has 11 calories per cup. There's no sugars in there. It's basically just some nice broth. You drink it, plenty of salt. If you drink a cup of broth whenever you start to just experience the most mildest lightheadedness when you stand up too quickly, or the most mildest form of kind of nausea, then you might not even need to drink that once per day. But whenever you notice that feeling, just sip on a little broth. It tastes amazing, especially when you're not eating any food. The broth would taste really good. But there is 11 calories in that. So for me, I'm not going to do that. And there's other calorie-free alternatives. Now, the next solution is one that is really, I don't like it. So after trying to do it, I just don't want to do it. Some people don't have a problem with it. I've read blogs and stuff where they recommend doing this. That's basically just to put half a teaspoon of salt in a glass of water, stir it up, and drink it. That to me is, I've accidentally inhaled so much, swallowed so much ocean salt water in my life that I can't. Drinking the salt water is too unpleasant. I just don't want to do it. I've also tried mixing some calorie-free Crystal Light, some pink lemonade flavored, 0 calorie, with some salt in there, and I can probably get about a half a teaspoon per glass. I can drink it. It tastes kind of salty, but it tastes okay. It's drinkable, but I still don't like it. I think most people trying that would probably like it enough to drink it over just the plain salt water. A better tasting option is they sell calorie-free, 0 calorie Gatorade, 0 calorie Powerade. Now these energy drinks, they're not energy drinks, sorry, these sports drinks are designed to replace the salt that you lose by sweating when you're doing hard physical workouts. Well, fasting like this is similar to a physical workout because we're depleting the food that's in our body. We're not burning them through physical exercise as intensely, but just the fact of not eating is burning all that food as well, just by living. It's sort of a long-term endurance sport. So these work really well. They're 0 calories. They taste really good. You can find them in your local stores. They're easy to get. Going back to the broth, you get bouillon cubes. You dissolve them in a glass of hot water. Put a coffee mug in the microwave it for a minute, dissolve the chicken bouillon, beef bouillon, vegetable bouillon cube in there. You've got a nice cup of broth. And it's cheap and easy to do. Doesn't take anything or hardly cost anything. You also have that calorie-free Gatorade or Powerade. Tastes pretty good. And I've also found There's a link to this, just if you're curious to know more about it, on my blog. There's Xtend. So letter X and then TEND. They make a drink that has a bunch of sodium in it to replace the electrolytes. It's kind of like that calorie-free Gatorade, but they add blockchain amino acids. No, branch chain amino acids. Sorry, blockchain is a cryptocurrency thing. Branch chain amino acids, which basically help. It's a sports recovery drink. So after a strong workout, what it's doing is it has some amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein, which help your muscles prevent them from deteriorating and help them to rebuild. And in fasting, there's some advantages to that, although after the first 24 to 48 hours, your body will transition to eating fat and it won't eat muscles anymore. So it's a bit of an opinion on whether or not that's optimal for fasting. Based on the research I've done, I feel like it doesn't hurt. If anything, it may help a little bit, so that's good enough. But I'm really drinking the drink for the salt of it. And I'm waiting until I have a symptom of like a little bit of nausea or some lightheadedness. And I'm letting that go for a little while because I don't want to abuse this delicious tasting drink when I'm trying to eat no food. If I start to drink it too often when I don't really need it, then I'm starting to train myself to want to taste things. So it's a little bit of a nice break from just drinking water. I get to have a nice flavor. You know, I've got a watermelon, a tangerine, a blue raspberry. Nice to have that nice taste once in a while, every other day or two. I'll share in these videos every time I drink one of those drinks. I may drink one tomorrow or the next day. Today I'm just noticing that I'm starting to have that feeling, so I just wanted to share that with you. But if you take some salt, you'll alleviate that feeling. When you get to day 3 or 4, you may start to experience that, and this is something that you can easily deal with. Obviously, if fasting were the easiest thing in the world, everyone would just do it. You want to lose 20 pounds, don't eat for 2 weeks, and then you lost your 20 pounds, right? The Qigong practice is what really makes this accessible. This is what makes this a lot more easy to do, feels better to do. It's less about willpower, and it's more about just consciously choosing what to do and replacing the energy you're not getting from food with energy from Qigong. So today, keep in mind, not to give you the finger, but take your middle fingers, point them towards the Dantian, and give that a minimum, at least 5 minutes. Focus on the energy going in. Or 15 minutes. Challenge yourself to do it for 15 minutes, honestly, without thinking about a million other things. Concentrate on this for 15 minutes and see if you can't start to move from initially, you're going to activate this by imagining it. So you're going to imagine like it's going to almost be like pretend light coming in or a pretend feeling that you're imagining. At first, that's how you activate it because it's activated with your mind. So you activate with the imagination, you activate it by pretending, and see if within the 15 minutes, if a feeling doesn't start to emerge on its own that you're not imagining. See if you can start to feel the reality of it. And when you do have that moment, you're going to have an experience that there's a reality to Qi. And through the practice of doing Qigong, you're going to learn how to cultivate that for just a better life. This is going to help you with lots of things. It's going to give you better energy levels. It's going to help you heal, physically heal from disease and from discomfort. And it's going to help you heal on emotional levels. It's going to give you a deeper spiritual experience. It's a wonderful thing to do. It's why I'm recording videos every day, just to get you to know about this. But do yourself a favor. Send some energy to your Dantian and let me know how you do with that. I'm really, so far I've built this website, I've wrote the book, I've recorded 4 videos, I haven't eaten for 4 days, and I'm doing all that, and still I've just been uploading it. I haven't invited anyone to the channel yet because I'm just making sure that everything links together and makes sense. Pretty soon I'll be sharing this with people. So I am really I can't wait to get your opinion on this. So leave me a comment. I will be reading every comment. Ask questions. I've got a lot of information I'd love to share that just didn't fit into this video. and I'd love to tailor it to you by answering your question. And I'll see you tomorrow on day 5. 11.1 pounds gone today. I'm not sure how much thinner I look, but tomorrow we're looking at 12 or 13 pounds. And who knows in 21 days what can happen. Well, stay tuned, you'll find out.